to getting this figured out here. Okay, so now if we go back to our equation here, so y equals mx plus b, well, we just figured out our m was -2, so we can put that in there. Now we're trying to find our b, and we need some x's and y's. Well, we have x's and y's because up here in our ordered pairs, you know, there's an x and a y with each of those, right? So we can take one of those ordered pairs and plug it in down here to be able to figure out what the b is. Okay, so if I take my 0.42 there, well, I know my x is 4 and my y is 2, so my x I'm going to replace with a 4 from up here, and then my y, same ordered pair, I'm going to replace that with a 2, and then I'm going to drop my plus b down. Now I've plugged in for everything except for the b, and now I can solve for the b. Okay, so if I solve that out there, if I took -2 times 4, that would be -8, plus b is equal to 2. And then we remember when we're solving equations, we want to try to get the variable by itself. So to get rid of that -8 there, I would add 8 to each side. That goes away. So on the right side, you'll be left with b. And then on the left side, if you do 2 plus 8, you should get 10. Okay. Now I just solved out all the different things I needed to know to be able to make an equation. So now my final answer would be y equals, it's always going to start with y equals, my slope is -2, x plus my y-intercept I figured out to be 10, and that would be my answer. Okay. Now we also could have used the other point there. You didn't have to use 2 and 4. You could have used 1 and 8 and got the same answer. So you could have plugged in a 1 for the x and an 8 for the y, and when you solve it out, you would still get 10 here and 10 for your answer there. Okay. Alright, so the next example, we're doing the same exact thing. Okay, so we got to find our slope by using those 2 points, and then we're going to have to find our y-intercept to make our equation of the line. Okay, so we've got -3, 3, and 6, 6. I usually write an x and a y with those, just because usually I get flustered in the problem and forget what I'm doing. Just kind of helps me to stay organized. Okay, so to find our m, we're going to do our y minus y. So if we choose 3 first, we're going to do 3 minus, our y is 6, over, and since we chose 3 first for our y, we've got to choose -3 first for our x, minus, and then our x that goes with the other ordered pair is 6. Okay, so if we do 3 plus a negative or minus 6, that would be -3 over, and then same thing there. If we do -3 plus a -6, that would be -9, or you could do -3 minus 6, still -9. Okay, now if we simplify this out a little bit, well, I know negative divided by a negative is going to be a positive, and then if I've got 3 over 9, I could pull a 3 out of both of those, and it would reduce down to 1/3. Okay, so I know my slope, or my m, is 1/3. Okay, so halfway there. Now I have to take that slope and use it to find my y-intercept. Okay, so I'm going to go y equals, and then my m I know is 1/3 x plus b, and then again I need to find an x and a y to plug in. Well, I can just use my numbers that I already had up here for my ordered pairs, right? So I'm going to use 6 and 6 because either way I plug them in, it's still 6. So my y is 6, and then I go 1/3 for my slope, and my x is also 6 plus b. So if I take 6 times 1/3, that should come out to be 2, plus b is equal to 6. Then to get rid of the 2, I'm going to subtract 2 from each side. So then I'll have 4 is equal to b. So I've got my b, got my m. Last thing I have to do is throw it together in an equation. So I would go y equals, my slope is 1/3, x plus my y-intercept is 4. And that would be your equation. Okay? The biggest thing with those is just making sure that you're plugging in the right things for the x and the y, because a lot of times people swap those around and put, you know, the x there and the y there, or they'll flop it around on the slope. A lot of little things you've got to pay attention to on that. Okay, so on page 15 in your book, there's example 3 that's kind of like a guided one where it kind of helps you to set up a problem just like this. So if I were you, I would try that out and see how you do. So I'd pause your video, try it out, and then see if you get the same answer that I get here. Okay, so the answer that they get in the book that you should have hopefully got is y equals 1/2 for the slope x plus, and then the y-intercept that they got is 7. So that's what it should say on your answer 2. Hopefully you got to that. Okay, next thing here. Okay, so we are supposed to convert the equation 2x plus 5y is equal to 10 into slope-intercept form, and then we're supposed to take that and graph it. Okay, so 2x plus 5y is equal to 10. Write that down there. Okay, so when I'm trying to get to slope-intercept, so slope-intercept y equals mx plus b, the big thing is getting the y by itself. So basically I need to take the y and get that by itself. Okay, so what I'm going to start by doing is I'm going to start by getting rid of the 2x. So to get rid of 2x, I'm going to subtract 2x from each side. And that goes away, so then I'll have 5y is equal to negative 2x plus 10, and we remember that we can't combine those together and make it 8x, because you can't do that with adding. Those are different, or not different. They're not like terms, okay? So this one has an x, this one doesn't. We can't combine them together to make 8x. We just keep them separate like that. And then to get rid of the 5y, well, they're right next to each other, so that means multiply. So we would do the opposite of multiplying, which would be dividing. So we're going to divide by 5 on each side. And we got to make sure that we divide everything over here by 5. So 5 divided by 5 comes out to be 1y, or just y. And then over here, taking all of those things divided by 5, it's going to be negative 2/5 x plus, and then 10 divided by 5 is 2. Okay, and I usually, instead of changing that to a decimal, which would be negative 0.4, I believe, usually slope is left as a fraction because it's easier to graph. Okay, so we always have to start with our y-intercept. So in this case, that's 2. So we're going to go over here on our y-axis to 2, stick a point, and then our slope is negative 2 over 5. So negative 2 over 5, our rise is on the top, run is on the bottom. The negative can either go with the top number or the bottom number. It doesn't matter, but it doesn't go with both of them. Okay, it goes with one or the other. So I put it with the negative 2, but you could have kept it a positive 2 and made it a negative 5. It doesn't matter. Okay, so negative 2 is for my rise, so that means I need to drop 2. And then my 5 is positive, so that means I need to go to the right 5. Okay, now if I was thinking about it the other way and having a positive 2 over a negative 5, well, to show it's the same way, I could go up 2, so 1, 2, and then left 5 for the negative. Oops, I didn't go over that one. That would still make a straight line through there, if I could draw a straight line. Okay, so you could go either way with that and be fine. Or you could have kept dropping, you know, go down another 2 and then right 5. Either way is fine. Okay, next problem here, example 5. So this is on page 16. Flip to it here. Okay, it's a story problem here, and they kind of ask us to do a lot of different things. Okay, so first thing it says, the maintenance crew at the Splash and Slide water park have found that their main attraction, the Big Kahuna water slide, needs some additional vertical bracing. There already exists a 10-foot vertical brace near the bottom and a 46-foot vertical brace near the top that is 72 feet from that bottom brace. 2 more vertical braces are needed that are equally spaced between those 2 braces. Model the slide with a line letting the bottom of the slide be the point 0, 10. Okay, they gave us a crap ton of information there, but they also gave us a picture, which is super nice. So I'm going to sketch out the picture here. The picture, I'm going to start with a graph. They tell me that the bottom of the slide is at 0, 10. Well, I can graph 0, 10 on a graph. So if I go, okay, 0 to the right and up 10, maybe we say it's somewhere in there. Okay, so that's the bottom of my slide at 0, 10. Now they tell me that the top of the slide is 46 feet tall, and I also have to go 72 feet over. So if I go over 72 feet and then up 46 feet, which we're just kind of estimating where all that stuff would be, that's the top of the slide. Okay, so that's the bottom of the slide there at 0, 10. The top of the slide, we had to go right 72 and up 46. So the top of the slide would be at 72, 46. Okay, I'm going to draw my slide in here. That's my slide. Okay, and then they tell us there's these vertical braces here. So we've got one vertical brace that drops down at the beginning, another vertical brace that drops down there, and we know that this one's 46 foot tall, that one's 10 foot tall, and then they're going to add 2 additional braces in between here that are evenly spaced. I'm just going to kind of sketch those in as well. These are the 2 braces we're adding in. Okay, so let's look at what the questions ask. So there's an A and a B and a C. Okay, so for A it says, what are the possible coordinates of the top of the slide? Okay, well we just kind of figured that out there, didn't we? So we went over 72, up 46, so the top of our slide would be at 72, 46. So for A, 72, 46 possible coordinates. Now you also could have, I'm guessing why they say possible coordinates is maybe our slide went the other way, you know what I mean, kind of in this direction, so then it would be like negatives, but for our picture here and the picture they kind of have in the book, that point makes sense. Okay, then the next one says, find an equation for the line modeling the slide. Okay, so we need to find an equation for a line, and we know that the slide is going to cross here at 0, 10 and also at 72, 46. So having 2 points, we can figure out a line, right? Just like we were doing. So we want to start with slope. So if we did, our points are 72, 46 and 0, 10. So if we do, we got x and y, x and y. So if we do y minus y, so one y is 46, the other y is 10, over our x's. So if we chose 46 first, we would have to choose 72 first, minus our x and the other one is 0. So if I did 46 minus 10, I'd have 36. 72 minus 0 is 72. And 36, I believe, is half of 72, so that should reduce down to a half. So if you take 36 divided by 36, you get 1. 72 divided by 36, you get 2. So our slope here is going to reduce down to 2. Okay? Now using what we did before, y equals slope, our m is 1/2 x plus our b. Well, again, we need an x and a y. Well, we've got that in our ordered pairs. I'm going to choose 0 and 10 because they're smaller numbers. So my x is 0. So I've got 1/2 x is 0 plus b is equal to my y is 10. Plug in a 10 for the y. Then I solve that out for b. Well, this one's nice because if I take a half times 0, that's just 0 plus b is equal to 10, and 0 plus anything is just itself. So our b would be equal to 10. So that information right there, the m being 1/2, the b being 10, would give us our equation. Y equals our slope, 1/2 x, plus our y-intercept for the b is 10. That would be our equation. Okay. Now this next part here, they ask for C, how long